In this video, you're going to learn about the importance of food and all of the major molecules that food gives to your body. Food is really important for several reasons. First of all, your food gives you all the energy that you need to be alive. It also helps you grow and repair and gives you all the vitamins and nutrients that you need to stay healthy. What's really neat is that you really are what you eat. So here's my little hamburger and fries, and those are going to make up this guy right here. So what happens is you eat your food, your body breaks it down into all of its little molecules, and then it builds it back up in whatever way that your body needs it to in order to make you. The important biological molecules that we're going to be looking at today are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, nucleic acids, and then vitamins, minerals, and salts on the whole. Our first major molecule that's so important to all existence is proteins. Anytime you see a living thing, you're either looking at proteins or the products of protein action. The major sources of protein in our food are any animal product, beans, nuts, and soy. The elements from the periodic table that make up proteins are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and sulfur. Nitrogen is a super important one because proteins are big long chains. The name for that is a polymer. They're long chains of repeating building blocks, and proteins, their building blocks, are called amino acids. And since a polymer is many building blocks, one building block is called a monomer. So proteins, polymers, long chains made up of monomers, building blocks called amino acids. Why are they called amino acids? Well, it's because of their chemical structure. They have an amino group here, a carbon with whatever unique side chain that makes it special, and then COOH, a carboxylic acid group over here. And these are going to chain together, one after the next, to make a long chain that will fold up and become a protein. Proteins do all sorts of things in your body. Some of the major ones is some proteins are important in structure. They either physically make the structure or they are sort of the construction workers that put some structure together. Some proteins are in charge of transport, so some actually walk, like bigger, larger molecules from one side of the cell to another. Some just regulate what comes in and out of cells. Transport is a really important part of cell life that proteins are crucial for. And finally, enzymes. We're going to spend a lot more time on enzymes, but basically what those are molecules that catalyze reactions. They make reactions go faster, they help break things apart and stick things together. Proteins are the most important. Without proteins, without all of these, we'd be dead. Moving on. Proteins are our builders, the builders of our cells, and we get the energy to do all that building from carbohydrates. Important sources of carbohydrates include all your grains like wheat, corn, rice, sugar, fruits, and vegetables are all full of carbohydrates. The elements involved in carbohydrates, super simple: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbohydrates can be small, simple sugars or long chains, right? Polymers of little building blocks, monomers, called simple sugars. And the chemical formula for most simple sugars is C6H12O6. This is a simple sugar called glucose. It is basically the most fundamentally important sugar that there is. But if you change the little structure a little bit, then you can have different types of simple sugars. If you put a couple of these together, you can make sucrose, which is like this sugar that you put in your Kool-Aid and buy at the store. So anytime you see an ose, like my examples of sugars here are glucose, sucrose, and fructose. So anytime you see ose, that's a hint that it's a sugar. Another easy way to spot a sugar or a carbohydrate is this like hexagon ring action happening here. There are all sorts of functions for carbohydrates. Sugars, like this, and starches, which are really long chains of simple sugars, are important for energy. You've probably carbo-loaded before a big game, meaning you ate a whole lot of carbohydrates so that you would have plenty of energy to do well in an athletic event. Another carbohydrate that's important, you may not have heard of before, is called glycogen. And it's just a carbohydrate that your body uses to store energy, and it hangs out in your liver. And when your body needs energy, your liver turns that glycogen into glucose that you can use for energy. But when it's being stored, it's stored as glycogen. And finally, the last carbohydrate that's really important is fiber. Fiber are long branching versions of these, so many monomers put together, branching. Fiber is, you can't actually digest it. You can eat it, but your body can't break it down. But it's very important because it helps push your food and waste through your guts. Lipids are very important and super delicious. Bacon. So, important sources of lipids, or fats, waxes, and oils, are animal products, vegetable oils, nuts, and even vegetables like avocados. Just like carbohydrates, the only elements involved in building lipids are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Now, lipids aren't big polymers. They're more like aggregations of different fusions of glycerol, building blocks called a glycerol, which is 3 carbons and 3 hydroxyl groups. So it's just this little 3 carbon string plus fatty acids. You've probably heard, well, fatty acids, fat. The acid part comes from the fact that it has a carboxylic acid group on it, just like amino acids have a carboxylic acid group. But what makes fatty acids unique is that they just have these super long chains of carbon. So some lipids have 3 fatty acid chains, some have 2, some have 1. And the function of lipids in your body is insulation, cell membrane structure, so you wouldn't even have cells if you didn't have fats, and it's a great way to store energy. Your body needs fat for all of these. Too much fat can be dangerous and could lead to heart disease or other negative body influences. The next most important molecule that your food gives you to help you build yourself are nucleic acids. Nucleic acids can be found, what DNA and RNA are your nucleic acids. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. So Na lets you know that it's a nucleic acid. And so any living thing that you eat, when you eat it, you're eating the nucleic acids, the DNA that was in it. The elements that are part of nucleic acids are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and nitrogen. Nucleic acids are also polymers, long chains of monomers, building blocks, called nucleotides. Nucleic acid, nucleotide, nucleic acid, nucleotide, easy to remember. Nucleotides are made up of 3 parts. They have a phosphate group, they have a little 5-carbon sugar, which could be deoxyribose if it's DNA, or ribose if it's RNA. So that's your 5-carbon sugar, right? Those both have ose at the end, which lets us know they're a sugar, right? And then some kind of nitrogenous base. That just means it's got a lot of nitrogen in it. All right, and there are 5 different nitrogenous bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, and uracil. Now for right now, you don't have to know like all those specific names. You just need to know that nucleotides make up nucleic acids. They have 3 building blocks: a phosphate, a sugar, and a nitrogenous base. We're going to talk more about all of this when we talk about DNA. The function of nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, is to store and transmit your genetic information. Finally, vitamins, minerals, and salts they can be found in, well, lots and lots of things, but especially in high concentrations in fruits and vegetables. The elements in vitamins and minerals, there are so many, these are just a few. But all your vitamins are organic molecules, so they have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And then some of the other minerals and things in salt are calcium and iron, potassium, sodium, chlorine. There are all of these and even many more. All right? So vitamins, minerals, and salts, they function to help your body maintain a state called homeostasis. And that's just a stable, healthy internal environment. If you don't have enough of a certain vitamin, then you could get sick. Or if the salt balance in your body and blood is not even, then you could get sick. So you need these vitamins, minerals, and salts to help keep homeostasis, a stable environment in your body. Here are just a couple of examples. Iron is a metal, but it's very important for helping your blood cells carry oxygen. Vitamin C, you always hear that that's good for your immune system and keeps you healthy. Well, that's because vitamin C is an important part of making a protein called collagen. Collagen helps build your bones, helps keep your body parts stuck together, and helps you heal, which is why it's important to have vitamin C to help you get well and stay healthy. Sodium, this is a sodium ion. It's important in helping your brain and nervous system transmit nerve impulses throughout the body. So as you can see, there are all sorts of vitamins, minerals, salts, lipids, carbohydrates, proteins, and nucleic acids that you take in through your food. They help you have energy, they help you grow and repair, and they help you stay healthy by eating a balanced diet.